Beyond the headlines. This is World Insight.
Hello and welcome to World Insight with me, Tian Wei. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz is now on an official visit in Beijing and also in Hangzhou amid a shift in global trade dynamics. Against the backdrop of Washington doubling down on tariffs, this trip is being closely watched as a test of how Europe's largest economy can navigate the growing geopolitical headwinds while deepening ties with its most important trading partner. So our panelists help unpack what Merz hopes to achieve in Beijing and the rest of China, and whether this visit can lay the groundwork for a more resilient and forward-looking partnership between Germany and China. I'm glad to be joined by Huang Yiyang, Chinese Consul General in Frankfurt, Germany, and also Andrea Schultz, CEO of DFV Euro Finance Group. Last but not least, Helga Zepp-Lahouche, founder of Choler Institute. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. Now, what do you think about the short-term interest and the long-term strategic interest of Germany behind German Chancellor's first visit to China? Go to you, Consul General.
Yeah, I think for the short term, I think it's very obvious because China and Germany, we are the second and third largest economy in the world, and we are both the biggest trading partners for each other. And also Germany is the biggest European investor in China. And so in terms of economic development, we have huge potential and complementarity with each other. At the same time, there are certain kind of issues hanging between us. So that's quite urgent for both sides to talk about that. But surely, as long as we talk it in an open-minded manner, we can sort it out. But for the long-term interest, I think it's more important because we are in such a turbulent, big changing world, shifting world, with this change of the geopolitics, with the change of this energy revolution, and also internet revolution, etc. So, what kind of a world should we fight for together? What kind of international order should we stand for together? I think that's the thing we should think about. But I firmly believe and that we do have great common interest and values on those big issues. So this is a visit to reconfirm our commitment to those common goals and values.
Would the emergency of immediate interest and also the importance of a strategic interest between the two countries help Chancellor Merz and the group to have better ideas about where the direction of the bilateral relations will go? Let's go to Ms. Zepp-Lahouche.
You know, the developments with the United States have caused a rethinking in Germany that, you know, the advantages of having extensive cooperation with China gives a much more reliable partner. And I think that while the German industry had that view since a long time, the political pressure on the German government, it has all changed dramatically in the recent period. And given the fact that the German, especially the auto sector, has had very big troubles, I think the offers coming from China for cooperation is for sure taken with a much better acceptance. So I'm for the first time really optimistic about the prospects of German-Chinese relations, because I think that the pressures which worked on the situation, in a certain sense, it has all changed dramatically. So the fact that there are almost all the top brand names, the CEOs of the top German industry is accompanying Chancellor Merz, I think this is a very promising sign, and it reflects that it is the fundamental interest of German industry to look for long-term cooperation with China. So I'm really optimistic.
I was so impressed to see all these clips via Instagram from New Year's Eve with the drones and with the fireworks. I mean, the fire horse stands for movement, for breaking through barriers, for momentum, for energy. So from my point of view, the delegation tour of the Chancellor, together with these 30 CEOs from Germany, fits perfectly. So the perfect timing. And of course, I'm an optimist as well. We have so much potential for both sides. We have a long-standing partnership, but of course the Chancellor, will address for what Germany stands for. Germany stands for free trade, for fair trade, for a fair level playing field, of course. And he will not only represent the German industry, I'm sure he will also speak for Europe at all. And as you know, Europe is a huge market. It's a very important market for China as well. Yeah. In the short-term perspective, it's of course great to meet person in person. That's the best way to know each other better. Yeah. And it could be a restart for our long-standing, very positive relationship. So again, I'm optimistic. It's a perfect timing, and I'm looking forward.
I have noticed the Consul General, I don't know whether you have or not, among our two German colleagues, one is talking about pressure and emergency. The other is talking about possibility of sharing values between the two economies and the two countries that could help build some bridges. Mr. Consul General, what do you think might be the way, the most constructive and most sustainable?
On the one hand, we are both of us, especially particularly here in Europe, facing lots of pressure, external pressure, internal economic pressure, etc. But at the same time, we are not losing hope for the future, but we should find a way out and find the best partner to work hand in hand together. So I think that's the very purpose on both sides for as an expectation for this visit. Mm-hmm. So what's the most constructive? First of all, I think it's more communication, direct communication, face to face with each other. It helps a lot. Mm. Yeah, right. And Mr. Scholz, last year he visited China many times, and last year he first time in Shanghai. I think Shanghai is so different from Beijing, but also we have many other cities. And also here I have many other German friends. If it would be his first China visit, upon his return, I think his mentality, his mind, his outlook on China will change dramatically because it is so different. He can sense the dynamism, everything. Mm. So my first suggestion is that surely more communication with each other. And secondly is to try to identify the common new values instead of putting our eyes only on the frictions, on the certain competitions itself. If you only focus your mind on the issues, not say minor issues, friction issues, you are losing sight of the future. Yeah. So I think that's the second way. And the third is that we should further reaffirm our common values: multilateralism, open trade, anti-protectionism, decarbonization, green transition, etc., etc. Mm. Surely, on these important issues, China and Germany, we never ever have any difference at all. And at this moment, this kind of convergent values would stand out even more conspicuously.
Mm. Ms. Zeppler-Larouche, of course, both Germany and China are the second and the third largest economies in the world. Not to mention the European market as a whole is certainly even bigger. But what can, since this is a bilateral visit, what can the German Chancellor and the team be able to do in order to make sure that the second and the third economies are working together for their own common interests?
Well, I'm very impressed by a new model of cooperation, which I think is best expressed by the Volkswagen Group China Technology Corporation. This is an R&D center in Hefei in Anhui province. And, this is a perfect way of overcoming the danger of negative competition by just inviting German industry to cooperate and profit from the incredible changes and progress China has made in the car sector. The car sector in Germany is in a big crisis because of various factors. The difficulty with the combustion engine versus e-vehicles. So China has made incredible progress, not only in the car industry, but also there with smart driving, with the new technologies. And rather than using that advantage and driving the German economy more in crisis, China has reached out and offered that Germany could learn from these new breakthroughs And that way, I think, it's a perfect, in my view, this is the absolute perfect application of the Chinese method of conflict resolution. Rather than going for confrontation, China always tends to find a higher level where the conflict is resolved. The global security, global development, global civilizational initiative, and especially now the global governance initiative, which I think shows the same kind of harmonious development, which gives a way out for everybody. And I think that model is really so crucial in a very difficult world today.
Talking to the leading chairman of some of the car industries, for example, of Mercedes-Benz, of lately the BMW chairman, what they are telling me is to tap into the innovation factor of China. Why not? With the latest interview I had with the BMW chairman, he's been telling me they've been cooperating with CATL, just one of those examples of cooperation between China and Germany. So how do you think Germany is handling well, and China as well, about this relationship between competition and cooperation, not only in the industries that both sides have their own advantages, but also in the industries where there is competition, the car industry, for example?
Of course, we are partners on the one hand side, but of course we are competitive on the other side. We are competing. We are both global players. Our market is global. We have different kind of systems, but that's not a problem at all. Again, we both are looking for growth. But we have a lot of potential if we take a look where are we complementary to each other, as the Consul General already told us. Our roots are in engineering here in Germany. And the brand Made in Germany is still a great brand. When I visited Shanghai last summer, I was always asked, so how is Germany doing? And we really love your brands. We like your brands. And we still like your image, your brand, Made in Germany. So our roots are in the field of engineering, in the field of manufacturing. The new roots of China, and where China is really great, it's amazing to see. And it's really great to see it on location. It's better to see it on location, to experience that feeling on location. So I was amazed by seeing what's going on in China. So China is great in terms of the pace of innovation, in terms of action, in terms of innovation and digitalization, of course, in AI. And if we combine both worlds, so the pace of innovation with our roots of engineering, it could be really the perfect fit. And that's what BMW said, they are quite positive. Okay, we have to move on with our car industry. We have to speed up, but there are a lot of chances for partnership.
Another point I would like to ask is about so-called values. We've been hearing these words being used in positive lights and negative lights. Of course, words are up to interpretations, always. It is evolving, it's fluid, the interpretation at different times. So when it comes to China and Germany, when we talk about values, what should we think about values? Is it about family values? Is it about cultural values? Is it about the values between people? Or is it about only political systems? Or is it about values of a multilateral world? What kind of values do you think that the two sides should really constructively think deeply at this moment?
On one level, one can say that the Chinese people have now all the values the Germans used to have: industriousness, optimism, punctuality. Germany has lost a little bit, so I can imagine that Germany will learn its old values now back from the Chinese. But on a deeper level, I think we are united through great cultures, because China has a culture of 5,000 years. It has produced many important contributions to world history, to world culture, some of the most beautiful poems, paintings, so there is a deep a cultural foundation, and Germany likewise. We had a great classical period in our history.
Yes.
And the German philosopher Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz already said at the end of the 17th century that it is a good fortune that the two most advanced civilizations are on both ends of the Eurasian continent. And if they match hands and develop the countries in between, they always will have a great future together. So I think today, that kind of a Leibnizian outlook in terms of values, very profound philosophical ideas, could really serve to bring a positive change in the world. Because if the second and third largest economies work together, they have unlimited potentials. They can, do joint ventures to help, in the development of the global south. They can work with the global majority. And I think that if that relationship now inspires a new era, I see limitless potentials. I'm really, I have been very critical about the situation for a long time, but now for the first time, I think that there is a changed environment where an opportunity can be taken, and a miracle. I mean, Germany and China are the two countries who had economic miracles. Germany in the post-war period, China has made the most unprecedented economic miracle in world history ever. And if these two countries combine their experience, I really think there is a great future ahead.
What does that say to you, Consul General Huang, when the word value is being used in the relationship between China and Germany?
I think the good sign is that in the past, when talking about value, especially here in Europe, people will only narrowly define it into in a political spectrum, like the human rights, democracy, etc., etc. But right now, people tend to think that what's the most important value is the values that can sustain your daily life, that can motivate economic development, that can maintain and safeguard the world peace. So what kind of, that's the real value. That's the value really can help us. And so I'm glad that we can put aside some of our differences on the political system or its history, but we should put more focus on the mostly urgent issues at hand, like anti-protectionism, like safeguarding the multilateral trading system, like safeguarding the UN Center, the international order, like safeguarding the path toward decarbonization in the future, etc. So on all those important issues, China and Germany see eye to eye with each other. And there's one important thing. German people dislike risks and uncertainty. It's a nation really loves discipline, planning, a good order. So do China. And so then in such an uncertain world, well, let's try to maintain kind of certainty. The certainty, from China's case, I often say that China, what can China offer to the world? The best is our continuity, our certainty, and our credibility in terms of our policy, our social development, our social cohesion. So we never ever give surprise to the world, never in the past and never in the future. And we don't like surprise at all. So does Germany. So then coming to my conclusion is that both our nations love certainty, predictability, and credibility. So we should combine together and set a good example for the whole world. That's the best partnership should be demonstrated.
I want to express my great appreciation for all of your participation, your insights and input. Huang Yiyang, Andrea Schultz, and Helga Zepp-Larouche. Appreciate it. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I cannot marry you while your mother regards me.
Step into the world of timeless elegance with Mrs. Spring Fragrance, a captivating audiobook by Edith Eaton, read by Man Ling.
Because the green leaf still clings to the bough.
Experience the lively yet complex lives in Chinese American communities at the turn of the 20th century as Edith Eaton's delicate prose weaves together themes of tradition, change, love, and identity.
Forget all that belongs to the joy of life.
Follow the journey of Mrs. Spring Fragrance and witness the struggles and fights of those living on a rapidly changing exotic land while holding on to their cultural traditions, or more importantly, to their identities.
He could hardly believe that his daughter was seriously opposed to becoming the wife of such a good-looking, prosperous young merchant as Wang Ling.
Join Books and Beyond for Mrs. Spring Fragrance. Let the stories come to life in your imagination. Subscribe to Books and Beyond for free on your favorite podcast platforms, or log on to radio.cgtn.com for more.
Beyond the headlines. This is World Insight.
I'm so glad to be joined by Huang Yiyang, Chinese Consul General in Frankfurt, Germany, and also Frank Ziehen, best-selling author and one of the leading German specialists on China. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. Now, I would love to hear from both of you. How would you articulate the possibility of making progress in the bilateral relations during the trip by the German Chancellor's visit to China? How do you think we can better assess the significance of this visit?
I think it's a very important and long anticipated visit by Chancellor Merz to China, because every Chinese can vividly recall what the previous Chancellor Merkel, she paid a visit to China almost every year, and altogether 12 times. And at this such a turbulent and changing moment, especially here in Europe, which is in the eye of the storm, I should say, with this economic pressures, with this geopolitics, conflicts, etc. So the German and also the European people feel lots of pressure. And at this moment, who should be the best partner? Where should be the most sustainable and reliable market? And who can you join hands with to safeguard the world order? I think that's a big question. I think so that maybe I believe that's also the purpose for this visit. So my wild guess is that surely this is a visit of kind of reconfirming this our common values for multilateralism, for free trade, for decarbonization, and also it's kind of repositioning or recalling the all-around China-Germany strategic partnership, which was established in 2014. And we should reconfirm our commitment to our common goals. So I have high expectations for this visit.
Thank you, sir. It seems that there are a lot of important buttons you pushed in the answer. Go to you, Mr. Ziehen. Your thoughts on which area do you think we should watch very closely to see whether the visit is a real success?
I think the most important thing is that Chancellor Merz is going to China. He hasn't been to China for quite a while, and see with his own eyes, and that both sides start to building up trust. Because I think in this really turbulent times, it's very important to build trust, to trust each other, and to become reliable for each other. And that's only possible if you meet and if you have time. And if you basically adapt to each other's perspective, because China's perspective is it's a rising country, it wants to be a world power again, whereas in Europe and especially in Germany, times are tough, the economies are not growing, some of them are shrinking, the problems are mounting up. The most important thing now is that to understand each other and to get into a situation where both sides can create a win-win situation. So it makes no sense to destroy Europe with competitive products, and it makes no sense on the other side to close your market, European market, for European products. We need to work together, and therefore we need trust. And that's for me the most important goal of this trip.
Since you talk about the word the people, the public perception about things are extremely important. Mr. Ziehen, you have been instrumental trying to build bridges among media people, let's say in Germany, in China, elsewhere in the world. But certainly some have pointed out the great divide, it seems German press, generally speaking, have been portraying China vis-a-vis what the Chinese here will meet them, believe where their country is and what do they want to do with Germany, for example.
The media are not, they are not playing above the environment. And the environment in China is a growing environment. The economy is going up. The lives of the people are getting better. So they can be more easygoing towards Germany, towards their business partners. In Germany, and that's probably reflected by the media, in Germany, the pressure is very, very high, the downturn pressure. And people then started to fear things. And probably even for some bad reasons, they say, okay, we need someone who's responsible for all these problems. And then some of the media, they're looking at China and they're saying, okay, it's
that's
unfair play of China, or it's on the other side, it's Donald Trump with his tariffs. That's a completely different environment for the media in Europe and compared to the media in China.
And that's all the time we have for today. I'm Tian Wei. On behalf of the team, thanks for being with us. Bye for now.